Hey guys, low network connection, but we're still recording. Look at that. Happy Monday. Today's Monday, February 25th. We are on episode 320 of the TED Show today with the gentleman, my old friend, my dear friend, Eric Bolves, who was on episode 32. So he's got some great numbers going on. Let us know you can hear us or see us. We want to talk about the dark side of real estate today. Look, guys, you can't make this up. He did his slides in the right way so you can see them. So let us know you can hear us and see us. You can obviously see that. I'm a little under the weather today. I had a whole bunch of people text me and go, "Are you all right?" I'm like, listen, I don't know what to tell you, but I've got whatever that creepy crud is that's going around, and the doctor said there's nothing they can do about it. So look, yeah, right. I am on the dark side of TED right now. What's up, my friend, Mr. Sanchez? All right, so we're getting thumbs up. Francesco's on, so that means they can hear us or see us. Joanna, what's up? Welcome back to the show. I'm very excited. So we go way back. We have a very wonderful connection. Eric's mom was a big mentor of mine at UCF when I was on academic peer advisement. And so we reconnected later on because of our mutual friend, thank you, Jessica, Sharda. Sharda is an amazing human being, and so it's just funny how the world all comes together. But your mother was an amazing soul and very influential in my college years, and so I'm always happy to have you on.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you're one of the few people in the town of Orlando that I have known for that long, because everyone else has moved here since.
I know,
There's
right?
like no old timers.
I'm definitely an old timer at this point. But I love how you did the slides. I love how you did the presentation. But I love the title of what we're going to talk about. But before we dive in, I want you to, you know how much I love props. I've had a few hot toddies today, guys, so you're going to have to bear with me. But I want to talk about you. So those people who don't remember episode 32, give them a little background on Eric.
Okay, I am an attorney, been practicing in Orlando for over 30 years, which is a scary amount of time. I'm also a real estate broker. My dad was in real estate forever. He built houses, he was a broker, he was an appraiser, so I definitely have dirt in my blood. And so it just seemed natural to do both at the same time. And so you'll find that combination is kind of rare, to be an attorney and a broker.
Very rare.
Yeah.
Did you do attorney first and then got into real estate afterward?
Yeah, actually I was starting to study for it before I went to law school. But then I just recently got back in it a few years ago, because I found a lot of my elder law clients needed help with real estate.
That's right, because that's focus of your practice.
Right, and if grandma needs to go into an assisted living facility and there's this house, what are we going to do with it? We're going to do something with it that's going to benefit her and the family.
Correct.
And so that's where I come in with both the real estate knowledge and the legal knowledge to help out.
Because it's a big issue, because we're aging and we are getting older as a country, right? I mean, pretty much as a world, but we are definitely we're living longer. So there are more issues that we have to deal with as we get older. My kids tell me they're already ready to put me in a home. I welcome that. So bring it on. I used to fight it. Now I'm like, bring it on. I know what a home looks like. I'll be happy there.
In fact, over the weekend I was at the Prime Expo that was sponsored by the
yes, the
Orlando
Over
Center.
50 one. Was
That's
that
right.
good?
It was. I was one of their speakers there, and I was talking about the big talk, which is the conversation that people have to have with their family members about what's going to happen in the future.
Nobody wants to have that conversation. Hi, Carla.
That's right.
Nobody wants to have that conversation because as you get older, you get set in your ways, and first of all, you don't think that you need any help. Second of all, you don't want to move from your home. Third of all, you don't want to depend on anybody else. It's a very trying time for people as they get older.
Yes, you met my dad.
I've met
Definitely.
a lot of people. My mother-in-law, God bless her, she'll be 91 this year. She's in a facility out in Windermere, and she loves it. It has a bar, a pool. She's in heaven.
These places are like resorts.
This one is the one before, not so much, but the one she's in now, it's like a resort. And so what it did is it took all of this pressure off of her to not have to worry about taking care of the lawn and the house cleaning. And she had a 3,000 square foot house. What was she going to do with that? And as it became harder for her to deal with it from a health perspective, it just made sense. It doesn't mean that it was easy.
Oh, anyway, so today, being an attorney and actually being involved with the Florida Bar's section on real estate, I'm on the real estate committee. I'm on the commercial real estate committee, residential and commercial.
Wow, we got a real pro here.
And I see stuff, and I read stuff. And anytime you have something that is vibrant, like the real estate business now, you're going to have the creepy crawlies on the outskirts who are wanting to get in and take advantage of it, and not in a good way.
So you're talking specific, well, the dark side of real estate can apply to, it doesn't have to be elder, it could be any dark side. I mean, we've talked about that on the show. I've just never had a show titled like this, which is why I love it. Because there are so many people out there who are con artists, or, I mean, they know the vulnerabilities of people who are in the real estate market for whatever reason, and they attack those.
Yes. Anytime there's money flowing, you will find people trying to intercept it who have no right to.
Correct.
And in any group of people, you're going to find some slime balls. And
I like that word, slime ball.
It's a legal technical term.
It probably is.
It is. The FBI has released its top 10 list of real estate scams.
So there's a lot of those going on, right? So I'm interested to hear the top 10 because there's a lot going on. I just got text message. I get emails as a loan officer. I just got one last week from somebody who allegedly had a wire they wanted to send on a file that I don't work on files, so I knew it was fake. But I'm telling you, that looked real. And so what if you clicked on it and you didn't have a realtor who had educated you, you were a consumer, and you transfer that money? So I don't know if that's in the top 10.
That's on the list.
Okay, so go ahead, do your top 10.
In fact, that was even on the way into the office this morning. I was listening to WDBO, and Clark Howard, the consumer warrior, reported on the fact that it's a closing scam. Mm-hmm. So it's not hard for people to figure out once your house has sold. What's a little trickier is to be able to get your email. And so an artful hacker can hack into your real estate company to get your email. And so what they do is they create these very elaborate emails, and they send it out saying, "Congratulations on the sale of your home. We at your real estate company need you to wire this amount of money to facilitate the closing to this number and this number," the routing numbers, right? Guess where the routing numbers go? No place close, usually abroad.
And you don't know better because first of all, you're a consumer. But I know a lot of people are falling for it. You don't know as a consumer because you think, well, it looks legit. The email looks legit. Sometimes it looks like you don't always know your title company as a consumer. So there's so many things that they're preying on, hoping that you don't do the research.
Exactly. And in fact, what the advice is that if you are in the final phases of selling a house and you're to the point where you are, because everyone deals with it by email, closing, title agents do, real estate agents do, at the point where someone wants you to send money, you get on the phone. And you say, yes, I just got this email. It wants me to send money to this number.
Say that again, Angel, you're right. Say that again. You get on the phone.
Get on the phone. You know, those devices some of them have wires attached to them, not many anymore. But yeah, and talk to the title company, talk to your real estate agent to make sure that the number you got in the email is them and not some guy in Botswana.
Correct. And you know what? I had somebody who contacted their realtor, and the realtor didn't do the right thing and ask more questions. And they said, well, if the title company is requesting it, go ahead and do it. And the problem with that is that's a realtor who's not doing enough investigation on their client's behalf. No offense, you need to double check. It's your money. Ask the title company. You can check with your realtor, but if your realtor isn't doing the right thing, you should really talk to your title company.
Yeah, and yes, and in these days, it kind of works backwards. It's the title company that determines if something is going to close or not.
Correct.
Because of all of the changes on the regulations and all the documents they need, there's this poor person called the closing agent and the underwriter and stuff like that. They have to go through everything. And so as a realtor, when a title company wants something, I just give it to them.
Right.
You know, just to make this thing happen.
Right.
And so it's very easy to get into the face, whatever they want, whatever they ask for. But when it comes to money, you've got to make sure that it's going to the right place before your bank hits that button. And because once it's gone, you're not getting it back.
There's nothing you could, so ciao to you, Alexa, Italy, I'm jealous. Here's the deal with that. What Eric is saying is true. So just because it looks pretty, just because it looks like it's official, just because your realtor or whomever your advisor is says it, you need to check with the title company who's involved in your transaction and make sure that you verify with them that that's where they're requesting that money. Trust me, it will take an extra 10 minutes of your time and save you so much heartache. You're going to transfer money that you'll never be able to recoup.
Yeah, in fact, it could blow a closing. If you have $10,000 that you needed to bring to closing, and that $10,000 is gone now, you're not going to close. You're going to lose that house.
You're not going to close. And people don't believe that it's going on every day. And so, of course, they're not just, this particular one, they're not, always do your due diligence, that's right. This particular one, they're not just targeting the elderly or older clients. They're targeting the weakness and the vulnerability that they see.
They're targeting attorneys and realtors.
They are.
People who should know better.
But if it looks official and you have 900 emails you're trying to go through and you want to just send it, or you don't do the research or the due diligence, as Alexa said, you're going to regret it. So take the extra few steps.
In fact, most of the scams that the FBI was pointing out involve the internet, because everyone is so into using the internet, because it does make you much more efficient if you can use it correctly. That a lot of business is being transacted on the internet. So, for example, one of the biggest scams is a person is moving from one city to another. They just got a transfer. Happens in Orlando every day.
Absolutely.
And they're looking online and they find this great place to rent. They're back and forth by email with whoever is the leasing agent, and in fact you look them up online and wow, hey, there's a leasing company by that name. I must be dealing with the right person. The leasing agent says, okay, yes, you can have this terrific house, which really is a little bit under the market. It's a great price, but there's someone else looking at it. I need a $5,000 deposit today, or it's going to Mr. Smith. And guess what? The unit doesn't exist, the manager doesn't exist, Mr. Smith doesn't exist, and your $5,000 no longer exists as far as you're concerned. It's gone.
And I think the people who are watching don't realize that really does truly happen. So you're literally you're looking for a place, and if you're not from here, you're not going to know any better. And what would make you go the extra step to verify this company or this individual? You think they're online, they've taken the time. Listen, they know what they're doing. They've taken the time to create the website, create the email, create the vision, and it's all fake. And so you're transferring this money in. It's the same thing that happens with people who, they'll lease a spot, and it's by squatters. So squatters have created people who know this place is empty. They've created this imaginary, wonderful rent that you have, and all of a sudden the police knock on your door, and they're like, why are you in here? And you produce this lease that means absolutely nothing because the company isn't even real.
The same thing happens with room rentals too. In the age of Airbnb, that is an area that's also being exploited also. Being able to rent a room or a home for just a couple weeks vacation. You think everything's cool. You know how easy it is to get photographs of a house? It is so simple. You go on Zillow and you copy them. I'm not telling you any secrets here. But
so talk about Airbnb for a second. So if somebody says, I really want to go on the Airbnb site, is Airbnb checking for you? I don't know, so I'm asking. Or do you still need to do your due diligence on the house?
Well, if for one thing, if you are sure you're on the Airbnb site, you're okay. All right, that's the trick. It is so easy to clone sites.
It is.
I mean, with my limited experience, I could do it pretty darn easy.
Because what happens is you type in Google Airbnb, for example. If you don't go to Airbnb.com or whatever the legit site is,
yes,
the first 5 or 6 could be a cloned website for you. And you might not know it, and it might look like the real thing, but it's not.
Yeah,
and that's what
type in Airbnb.
Find out what the real URL or website address is. Make sure that's the legit address. And then you need to verify this stuff. Because I've heard people of nightmares of them spending thousands of dollars and renting a room or renting an Airbnb house, and it has nothing to do with Airbnb. Nothing.
Some non-internet related scams. Let's see here. Straw man. Okay. A straw man is, and this...
I haven't heard this term in so long.
It's a very, in other words, a fake person. A straw man is a person made of straw, kind of like a scarecrow. It looks like a man, but it really isn't.
Right.
That's where someone comes in, and in fact, there have even been real estate agents who went to jail over this, where a house is listed for well below the market. And they come in and they tell a person, this is the most you can get for this, I guarantee. I know the market, I can show you the comps. And but they already have someone waiting in the wings to jump in and snap it up at that low price. And guess what they do? They later turn it around, sell it at its fair market value, and they split the profits.
Right.
That's one that doesn't happen that much, but it still happens. So that's something to keep your eye on. You know, make sure that when you're given an offer, that it's a fair one, and it's not hard these days. You can go online and find out what your house is actually worth. It's really not that hard to do.
When people come to you, I want to know, when people come to you, when they have an issue, are there things that they can do to rectify it, or is it just so difficult to trace these people that you can't get to them?
If the bad guys already have the money and they're not local and they're gone, so is the money. Now, if you have a conflict with either your real estate agent, a member of the Board of Realtors, or just even if they're not a member of the Board of Realtors, the Florida Real Estate Commission can really help. You know, they have the ability to pull someone's license, and in fact, you know, if a crime has been committed, they'll refer it to the state attorney's office.
These are legit complaints or legit issues where you have a true licensed professional involved. These aren't the scams, for example. I mean, trust me, I know licensed people of any industry can create a scam. But in general, what you're talking about on the scams, the FBI ones, those are usually involving people who don't really have any licenses, aren't people you could tie down, don't really have a real address or anything real about it.
Right. In just dealing with selling a house, sometimes one of these is you have an open house. If you're going to have an open house, usually the owner is not there during the open house.
Right.
And one thing you can ask your agent to do is to make sure there are 2 people there. And the reason for that is that if you only have one agent there, and you have people coming and going around the house, it's very easy to distract the agent while person number 2 is in the bedroom looking for jewelry.
So I do a lot of open houses, and open houses to me are scary on a bunch of different levels. I mean, they're necessary, don't get me wrong. If they're done properly, they're very effective. As a single person, I'll say female, and I mean that in the most positive way, it's a very scary place to be when you're all by yourself at an open house. So the safety issues alone, and with all of the stuff that's going on in the world where people have been attacked and targeted at open houses. But the second thing is if you're by yourself, like Eric said, You're trying to talk to people. If there's 4 or 5 other couples in there, they know. They sit out, I'm telling you, they'll sit outside and wait until it's so busy, and you're too busy taking care of couple 1 and 2 that you don't see 3 and 4 come in and take stuff.
I don't think it doesn't happen, because guess what you do? The week before, you advertise that there's going to be an open house. All over the neighborhood, you have signs pointing to that house saying, here we are, the house is open.
Yep.
And yeah, you remember the talk about the gypsies coming to town and taking advantage of people? There's a new version of that, and it involves real estate.
Because they're organized. These people that do this tend to be organized, and they know what they're doing. They've scoped the house out. They've scoped out how you do open houses. These people do watch, and I think it's a terrible thing to have to say, but it's the reality. There have been many times where I'm the second person. We're still overwhelmed in the house. I have one couple, the realtor has another couple, and there's still 4 or 5 other couples walking around, and I have no idea what's going on with them. Yeah. And so from a safety perspective and a protection of your seller, it's super important for you to have multiple people there.
The last thing I want to talk about is not a scam, but it's something that everyone should be aware of. When you list your house, your realtor is supposed to, real estate agent, is supposed to give you options about how they're going to be represented. There's a difference by law. When you just sign a listing agreement, you're probably what they call in a transaction broker arrangement with that person. If that's the case, then your agent doesn't truly represent you. The agent represents the deal and is supposed to treat both you and the buyer equally. And I think that's a disadvantage. There's another relationship that's called a single agent. Yes, it's a single agent, which is a true fiduciary relationship. So
Here he comes in with the legal terms.
Yeah, right. Fiduciary means if I'm a fiduciary, that means I am looking out for you. Your interests are the ones that I am looking out. So I represent you. I represent your house. The people who are coming, anything they say, I have to tell you, give you an advantage. But that's a little bit different. Transactional brokerages, I believe, are a disadvantage, especially if you're putting something on the market which is the most valuable thing you'll ever own. Don't you want the person who has that listing to absolutely represent you in the best possible light and not just the deal, not just the transaction? So that's
let
part
me
of what I'm
ask
here
you.
too.
So I love it. So when you are working with a client, is it more difficult for you to switch between hats, attorney, realtor, or should every realtor really be thinking in terms of legal? Because we're so litigious, especially in Florida, and so if anybody can be sued for anything at any moment, should we all be thinking in a litigious sort of legal manner? What's your thought on that?
Yeah, well, and that is true. I get an email every week from an outfit that hires attorneys, finds attorney jobs, and the single area where they're hiring the most, just 126 listings last week, was litigation attorneys. That means someone had a dispute with someone else that they couldn't resolve on their own, and they got to go see a judge. So yes, we are very litigious, but as far as wearing 2 hats at once, to me this is perfectly logical, because as an attorney, I have always represented my clients to the best that I can. I've always had a fiduciary relationship with them. I work for their best interest, not the other person's. It's not equal between them and the other side.
Correct.
With the transaction brokers, it is. You basically have to watch out for both sides, which I think is a disadvantage. So for me, it's a very natural flow. And the nice thing is that if I ever come across an interesting legal question, I don't have to call an attorney.
Right.
I can talk to myself about it, but it really, I think it's an advantage for the person trying to sell their $750,000 house.
I think it's important to have I think everybody should be more educated than they are in all of our industries. I think that's why ORA and NAR and FAR and everyone else is so determined to make sure that we all have as much educational opportunities to learn more, because the broader spectrum is that we need to know more in order to serve our client base. And in order to serve our client base, we have to take more educational courses. We have to get more CE classes. We have to do more trainings that might be outside of our 9 dots, but it's going to help the industry as a whole.
Yeah, and also I have this crazy policy that I do. It's a terrible, terrible business model. I give free consultations. So if you have a question on any of this stuff,
look, he did it right, guys.
You can call me here.
It's the best.
Yeah,
first person in 320 episodes
right.
ever.
And you can get me on the phone, and I'll be happy to to answer your questions. If it's something I can help you with, I will. If not, I will help you find someone who is reasonable and really, really good. The brokerage that I am the managing
I want to
broker
see
of,
this because we don't know. This is newer to me.
It's International Drive Real Estate.
I like it.
Okay, and so basically, and also I'm hiring. So if you are if you're a licensee who's looking for a happy place to work, who always has a lawyer at your disposal to answer those tough questions, here we are.
He's prepared today, which I love. But I love this topic because I think we're seeing so much more of it. We're seeing so many more people get duped. All of us professionally, it seems like they're really targeting it and they're getting better at what they do, which is what they are good at. They find the vulnerability, they find the mistakes, and then they tweak it so that we have to look harder to make sure that it's not legit or legit. And so I love this conversation about the dark side of real estate because you have to pay attention, guys. You have to really, really be in touch, and you have to do due diligence. Like Alexa said, you have to really, really watch out for your clients. And as a consumer, you have to make sure that everybody's watching out for you. But in reality, at the end of the day, you have to watch out for yourself. Honestly, we all have to do that. So thanks for coming on. We're going to share, we already shared it, but we're going to share the rest of Eric's contact information, how you can reach out to him. But are there any parting words of wisdom for them? Anything you want to share before we head out?
Well, the old phrase used to be caveat emptor, meaning let the buyer beware. Even though that's not the rule completely, is everyone has to watch out for themselves. You have to be self-educated. You got to know what you're getting into. Don't completely rely on anyone for anything. And if you can keep your head up, ask questions, always ask questions, you'll be okay.
Agreed. All right. You've been a joy as always. Thanks for putting up with my... I didn't hack, though, during it. I didn't cough at all.
No.
Maggie's magical toddy.
The hazmat suit did not come out once.
Certainly helped tremendously. All right. We'll see you guys later this afternoon. We have 2 shows, and I have a couple of meetings. We love you guys so much. Reach out to Eric. You got all his contact information. We love you. We'll see you soon.